Hello everyone, Green Man Bookseller here, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing The First Casualty by Ben Elton. Many years ago I read some of his early works, like Stark, Gridlock, that kind of books. Didn't really rate them very highly. It's just not quite my kind of humour. There's nothing wrong with the books, just not quite my style of humour. And then about 10 years ago, I read the then current book of his. Was it Time and Time Again, if I remember rightly, the title? Which is one of his more serious books, not where he's moved away a bit from the comedy aspect. And I really enjoyed that book, really found it interesting. But anyway, I've just recently read his book, The First Casualty, which is about 2005 it was written. So it's roughly about the time he's starting to move into more serious stuff and away from the comedy stories. Well, I say comedy stories, away from the sort of light-hearted stories and into more sort of serious work. It's the basic storyline of First Casualty. It's set in the First World War, 1917, and there's a policeman. He's refused to go off to fight in the war. He's a conscientious objector, and he ends up going to prison because of it. And he ends up being sort of conscripted to, if that's the right word, to do this job. There's an aristocrat. He's been fighting on the front line in the trenches, and this aristocrat, he got murdered, he was shot to death whilst he was back in hospital, suffering from shell shock. And a Bolshevik gets blamed for for murdering this aristocrat. Bit of a sat-up job, the Bolshevik, he got blamed for various political reasons. And this policeman, he's sent off he has to go off to the front line to find out the truth behind what really happened to this aristocrat, who really killed him and why. It was an interesting read, interesting enough read for me to keep me going till the end. It's quite, sorry, get mine anyway. It's an interesting storyline, and I must admit, whether it's just me being having a bit of a blonde moment when I was reading the book, I didn't guess the truth until the very end, until the reveal. So I don't know if that was just me being blonde or whether Ben Elton had actually done a good job of hiding it. But what put me off a little bit with his particular book, The First Casualty, was a lot of the characters, they came across as caricatures. They're sort of they're not very well fleshed out. They're very sort of two-dimensional. That's a bit off-putting. It's very, like I said, there are more caricatures than characters. So yeah, he hasn't done a very good job there, I don't think, personally. And the ending, the final resolution, to my mind, it was bad ending. For me personally, the ending, real letdown, real pants one. The top and tail of it is Copper returns to his old life. So sorry if that's a bit of a spoiler, but oh no, I just didn't agree with that ending at all. It was an absolute bad one. That's my personal feeling on it. Other people might disagree. But there were some good points to it. I mean, there were there were elements of the storyline that did get me thinking a bit, and when a policeman's investigating a murder in the middle of a war, it sort of does raise the question: when is killing somebody a murder, and when is it acceptable? Because soldiers going off to the front line in a war and killing people, they're not going to suddenly be come home and sent off to prison for murder, for like killing the enemy. So it kind of, fighting in a war is state-sanctioned murder in a way. One way, so it is that sort of question: when is murder murder, and when is it not murder? But yeah, so there was sort of elements of the story that sort of does provoke a bit of thought. So yeah, I mean there are good points to the story. So it's not completely bad, and like I said towards the start of the video, I did find the story sort of enjoyable enough to keep me going till the end, and it didn't feel like a slog to get to the end either. So yeah, it's all right. I wouldn't rave about it, but it's not too bad. Not too bad a book. But anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Hope you've enjoyed. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. And in the meantime, stay safe. Happy reading.